He said if a brother is married and doesn't have a child from the union after some time, and he discovers that the sister lost her womb through multiple abortion, and the sister kept it a secret even after the marriage, and the brother discovers, what should he do? Sickness. Things that cause a lot of crisis in marriage. And sickness has two categories. There's a category of sickness that is before the marriage, and there's a category of sickness that is during the marriage. If a sickness of whatever sort emanates in the course of the marriage, it is the responsibility of both parties to bear it. Because when you got married, it was until death do you part. And so if your husband takes ill or your wife takes ill during the marriage, your husband's duty to the husband's duty to the wife, or the wife's duty to the husband, is to help him through the situation. That is not something anybody desires, but that's a cross you have to bear. However, if that sickness happens in that marriage out of carelessness, you see, that's why I told you, don't marry a reckless person. You get married to your husband, he's on alcohol from morning till night. You say, no, slow down on alcohol. He wouldn't hear until a condition happens. Now that the condition has happened, a burden is in the family. What do? This is where many people are in trouble. The sickness was avoidable. The spouse counseled, but the person will not listen. Now there is a crisis. When such a situation happens, you will bear it. You know why I emphasized it? So that you will marry correctly. Those of you who are not yet married, you will still bear it, because his liabilities becomes your burdens. And for those who are married, please pay attention. When your wife or your husband counsels you, it's out of care. Don't take it for granted. Many times, when God wants to speak to you, he speaks to you through your spouse. Don't take it for granted. However, if there's a sickness before marriage, there are two ways to go about it. If the person in question tells you before the marriage, and you feel you can handle it, then if you get into the marriage, if it deteriorates, you will bear it together because you were aware. However, if he doesn't tell you, and I give you some instances so that you know what we are saying is not migraine headache. There are many terminal issues that people have before they get married. They hide it. And they deceive the person into marriage. When they now get married, the person discovers. And then they want the person to bear it with them. You have issues, some impotence, some genotype issues. They were not revealed until they get married. And now that they are married, they say, well, I didn't know how to tell you, but we are here now. You are nowhere now. That is not a marriage. If such a situation happens, what you do is that you take it back to the authority that joined you. And what the authorities do in such a situation is that they annul the wedding. Because it was not a wedding. In Amos chapter 3 verse 3 say, two will only walk together if they be agreed. And so if you didn't come out clean and you deceive somebody into wedding, that covenant was compromised. Because it was not you that was standing there. It was a false image that stood there. Are we together? And so those who are intending to get married, no matter what the situation is, make sure you are able to say it. Because if you lead somebody into a deceptive union, don't think the person will bear that burden with you forever. She didn't marry you. She married a deceptive image that you showed her. It's now she's coming to discover you. However, listen to what I said. I said the situation will be submitted to what? The authority that joined you. So it's not something you hear now, you say, thank God, and just jump out of marriage. Because there is a protocol for annulment. the institution that joined you will x-ray the situation. If it's something that they can handle it, settle the matter, and help you move forward. But if it's something they cannot handle, based on their discretion, they have the power to annul that wedding, because no wedding took place in the first place. It was a deceiver standing there bearing a false image and leading somebody else into a life of pain. And that is not just. So that is not a marriage. So please, make sure you state the truth before you step further. Now, why am I reading this question? This question is showing you that I love you is not enough. That's why you have to hear God. Because somebody can deceive you into marriage. It's when you get into marriage, you will discover a lot of things that I love you didn't capture.